When the gigantic palm slapped towards Luo Feng only felt the sky and earth go dark. He immediately stomped on the ground and used his spiritual force on his arm guard. His entire body swiftly flew to the side and dodged that horrifying palm. The golden ape's palm slammed into the platform below. The platform shook and directly cracked open. Hoo! Hoo! The golden ape's right palm moved like lightning and slapped towards Luo Feng unwillingly. The horrifying explosion was deafening. The shockwave formed by the wind from the palm even affected some of the apes and mountain walls on the side. Suddenly the mountain rocks rumbled and rolled down. Quite a few ape monsters were directly shocked to death by the shockwave. They bled from all 7 orifices and died on the spot. Under these 2 palms, LuoFeng's body moved erratically and he often dodged in ways that normal people couldn't. This human, after the golden ape waved its palms, even though it wasn't satisfied, it still decisively ran away. Too late. Die. Luo Feng stared at the golden ape. When the golden ape waved its palms, the 6 throwing knives had already left the golden ape's body and were around 10 meters away. And then they instantly sped up again. Whoosh. The 6 throwing knives transformed into 6 black flowing lights and shot towards the golden ape's neck. There was a gigantic wound there. Howl. The golden ape roared angrily. However, these 6 flying knives all had slight arcs and instantly reached 10 times the speed of sound. The golden ape couldn't escape at all and could only barely dodge. However, after a few poochie sounds, the golden ape's body flashed and reappeared around 100 meters away. Then, with a loud rumble, it fell to the ground and crushed quite a few other ape monsters to death. The golden ape actually died. The entire ape horde was silent. All of the ape monsters stared at the gigantic creature on the ground. Originally, that was their leader. Boom. The 2 demonic apes transformed into 2 flowing lights and swiftly escaped. In the blink of an eye, they disappeared from the canyon. Only after that did the sound of an explosion resound. Yeah. Countless apes screamed as they immediately collapsed and ran away. Soon, not a single ape was left alive in the entire canyon. Those 2 demonic apes sure ran fast, laughed Luo Feng. With a leap like lightning, he arrived beside the golden ape's corpse. Oh. The 6 throwing knives floated in the air and returned to Luo Feng's throwing knife bag. How lucky. With the defensive power of the diamond ape, it almost escaped. The life force of this golden ape was actually extremely tenacious. Its body was covered in scales and its muscles were sturdy. Luo Feng's throwing knife was stuck by its muscles when it stabbed into its face. One can only imagine how ridiculous its defense was. Unless it was pierced through the nostrils, mouth, eyes, or even the skull, it was usually very difficult to kill. And on its body, the defense around its neck was relatively low. The first time Luo Feng sliced open the wound, the second time, a throwing knife pierced the wound. The throwing knife traveled along the wound and directly into the golden ape's skull. With a ferocious twist, the golden ape died on the spot. Otherwise, even if the diamond ape's throat was pierced with the size of the flying dagger, it would only cause serious injuries to the diamond ape's enormous body and vitality, but it wouldn't die. A diamond ape, a high-level horde leader diamond ape. Not many advanced-level Wargods can successfully kill one. Luo Feng was extremely happy. He couldn't help but to take out his SS-grade throwing knife and started cutting at the diamond ape's chest. The most valuable part of the diamond ape was the large piece of scale armor in the middle of its chest. The diamond ape that was over 20 meters long died on the ground. And now, he's dissecting its body for materials. Luo Feng suddenly felt that this scene was quite mysterious. I still remember when I was in high school when I went home with when the black-crowned golden eagle flew over Yangzhou City and shattered quite a bit of glass with its cry. That time I thought to myself that in the future, I'll definitely become a powerful fighter that can kill a black-crowned golden eagle and a demonic ape. Luo Feng shook his head as he laughed. And just now, when the 2 demonic apes saw me, they ran away in fear. Life is just this unpredictable. Last year he was still so weak. And this year he's already become a powerful fighter. Last year he was still being chased by the steel-armored dragon. And today he killed a diamond ape that was close in strength to the steel-armored dragon. Dissecting the scales was extremely troublesome, but Luo Feng wasn't afraid of it at all. Instead, he hummed a tune as he dissected with his SS-grade throwing knife. Troublesome? If I sell this high-level horde leader diamond ape to the HR Alliance, I can sell it for 12 billion Chinese dollars. It's just dissecting it for materials. Who would complain about money being troublesome? Luo Feng was extremely happy. Normal high-level horde leader-level monsters are sold for 5 billion Chinese dollars, 20 billion Chinese dollars. The steel-armored dragon has the dragon name, so it can be sold for 18 billion. The diamond ape can be sold for 12 billion, which is quite expensive even among high-level horde leaders. Right as Luo Feng was leisurely dissecting, suddenly, the tactical communications watch vibrated. Oh? Luo Feng's eyebrows twitched and he lowered his head to look. Senior Shijiang? Luo Feng immediately picked up the call. Hello, Luo Feng. Senior Shijiang's familiar voice carried from the tactical communications watch. Luo Feng couldn't help but to laugh. Senior Shijiang, how have you been these past few days? Not too bad. I found a town and I'm resting in a broken mansion every day. Sometimes I'll come out to hunt monsters. Yesterday I met a low-level horde leader monster. However, that monster ran away too quickly. Sure enough, horde leader monsters are hard to kill, said Shijiang. Oh yeah, Luo Feng. Just now, someone asked for your new number from me. Oh. Luo Feng was shocked. Didn't you say that if someone asks for your number I'll immediately notify you? Laughed Shijiang. Yeah thanks, laughed Luo-Feng. Who asked for my number? Wei Tong, said Shijiang. I asked him if he asked for your number on behalf of someone else, but he wouldn't admit it. He said that he asked for the number himself. Wei Tong. Luo-Feng slightly nodded. That's not weird. Luo-Feng guessed that Candace would ask his good friends in the Chinese faction to help him ask for the number. Yeah, be careful if you're alone. We'll talk when we have time. Shijiang then hung up. Luo-Feng let out a smile as he sat on the arm of the golden ape's gigantic body. Of course. They want to find my location through my phone number. His tactical communications watch was new, and so was his number. And if the Vulture Scorpion couple wants revenge, they'll probably have to use his phone number. And he didn't tell his family about his new phone number. Only a few people in the training camp and the management of the training camp know about it. Good. Looks like they're making their move. Luo-Feng didn't mind at all, because he knew that he couldn't make the Vulture Scorpion and Vulture give up on revenge. Since they have to fight, he might as well take the initiative. Since with the Vulture Scorpion and Vulture Scorpion, as long as they have enough time, it's not impossible for them to get his number from the training camp. So Luo-Feng already told Shijiang, Zhao Rua, and the others that if someone asks for his number they can give it to them. Around 5 minutes later, Luo-Feng took off the large-scale armor from the golden ape's chest and put it into his bag. Right as he was resting on the side, his tactical communications watch vibrated. Hello, Luo-Feng picked up the phone. Little Gon, hurry up and go home for dinner, we're all waiting for you, a woman's voice rose. I'm not Little Gon, Luo-Feng asked back. You called the wrong number, right? Wrong number? Oh. Sorry, the phone quickly hung up. Luo-Feng let out a smile. Pretty good disguise, wrong number? Calling the wrong number does happen occasionally. This number is from Hongning Headquarter City. And Hongning Headquarter City's language is Chinese, so this woman is also speaking Chinese. If they were in the elite training camp, I wouldn't suspect anything. What a pity. I reckon that it won't be long before they come to this mountain range. Luo-Feng swiftly got up and walked towards the silver electric python's corpse. Yeah, after I take the gallbladder, I'll go welcome the Vulture Scorpion couple. Dissecting the silver electric python's corpse is 100 times easier than dissecting the golden ape's corpse. Luo-Feng was lucky, half of the corpse was eaten, but the gallbladder wasn't eaten yet. Time to go. Luo-Feng ferociously stomped on the ground and directly jumped 80 meters into the air. He stepped on a rock halfway up the mountain. After that, he swiftly leaped into the distance. After 3 leaps, he disappeared into the mountain range. On the passenger plane, the captain was anxiously sitting on the side. Mr. Li, I'll give you at most 5 more minutes. Don't rush, we're almost there, frowned Li Yao. Suddenly, Li Yao's tactical communications watch vibrated. Li Yao immediately picked it up. Yao, I've already sent you LuoFeng's coordinates, Venina's voice rose. Very good. Li Yao's eyes flashed with excitement. After that, he checked the coordinates he received. It's only around 300 kilometers from here, and he's actually in a mountain range? Captain, let's go. Go here and stop at the wasteland at the foot of the mountain, commanded Li Yao. All right. The captain, who had been waiting impatiently, immediately gave the order. The passenger plane immediately flew towards LuoFeng's mountain range. With the terrifying speed of the passenger plane, it only took a few minutes to arrive 300 kilometers. In the Ape Mountain range, there was a mountain that was over 1,000 meters tall, which was already the highest mountain in the entire mountain range. LuoFeng was currently on top of this mountain, paying attention to all directions in the sky. Not long after. With the speed of the passenger plane, it should be fast, muttered LuoFeng. Ichim? They're here. LuoFeng slightly smiled. In the distance in the north, a blur stopped and slowly descended. It was indeed a large passenger plane. As the passenger plane's hatch opened, silhouettes jumped out one by one. The person leading them was the person LuoFeng saw on the internet a long time ago. Advanced level Wargod Vulture Li Yao. Vultures here? Where's Scorpion? LuoFeng held his binoculars and looked carefully. Oh, hee. Quite a few people came. Quite a few boxes. The hatch is closed? Looks like Scorpion didn't come. 1, 2. Yeah, a total of 59 people. LuoFeng was paying attention to all of Li Yao's and the others' movements. Vulture Li Yao, you came to kill me? So I'll have to pay you a visit first. LuoFeng's gaze turned cold. Go. Kill Vulture Li Yao as soon as possible. From the foot of the mountain to where they are, it's around 3 miles. LuoFeng hid on top of the mountain and looked down at the wasteland below him. This wasteland hasn't been cleaned by humans for dozens of years, so it's always been overgrown with weeds. If a person squats in the weeds, as long as they aren't too close, they really won't be discovered. LuoFeng let out a smile and already had a plan in his head. I'll lie flat on the ground and move closer to them. They shouldn't be able to find me. Lying flat on the ground and using my spiritual force to fly close to the ground without making any loud sounds is definitely the closest way to the ground. However, once I lie flat, my backpack will be quite obvious. It'll be easy to be exposed. Before he stored the scales of the golden ape, his backpack wasn't that big, but now it's quite big. After all, the Diamond Ape overlord was a 20-meter tall giant ape. Even if the scales on its chest were stacked together, they would still take up a lot of space. Then I'll do it. LuoFeng immediately turned around and jumped down the mountain. When he was in midair, he actually made a turn and attached himself to the side of the mountain. He quietly moved forward and quickly entered his secret hideout. Inside the hideout, in a dark cave, a throwing knife directly flew across a rock in a corner of the cave. Under the control of Luo Feng's spiritual force, a rock flew up. Luo Feng dug a huge hole and threw his backpack into the hole. After that, he covered the gigantic rock in its original spot. Some sand and rocks rolled around and covered the gap. And since this cave is dark, even if someone comes, they probably won't be able to find the backpack hidden underneath. I'll probably take less than half an hour to deal with Li Yao. No monsters have entered my hideout these past 4 days, so there's no way that a monster would come in half an hour. They'll still be able to find my backpack, right? I'm sure my luck isn't that bad. Luo Feng smiled and then quietly left. The wasteland was overgrown with weeds. Luo Feng's entire body was on the ground. More accurately speaking, between him and the ground was his hexagonal shield. Go! Luo Feng's thoughts moved. His spiritual force immediately controlled the hexagonal shield. Luo Feng's entire body was practically sticking to the ground as he swiftly headed towards Li Yao's group. Luo Feng's back was less than 40 centimeters away from the ground. Even some herbivorous monsters in the wasteland would have a hard time finding Luo Feng. In the beginning, Luo Feng's speed was extremely fast, but when the distance between the two reached 500 meters, Luo Feng's speed drastically decreased. Luo Feng saw Li Yao's group through the gaps in the weeds. How did Vulture Li Yao's armor change? Vulture Li Yao was still wearing a black combat suit when he was observing him with the binoculars. But right now, Vulture Li Yao's bare arms and even his hands had turned black. His neck had turned black and he was even wearing a handsome black helmet on his head. Could be said, Vulture Li Yao's entire body was covered in black except for his face. He was also wearing a combat suit. This must be the Black God set, thought Luo Feng to himself. It was exactly the same as what Hong described. This Vulture Li Yao is truly cautious. Luo Feng couldn't help but to curse. I just got off the passenger plane and already used the Black God set. Inside is the Black God set, and on the body is the battle uniform. This battle uniform, even if it's not a SS grade, it's still a 9th series battle uniform. 2 layers of protection. 1 layer of the battle uniform and the other layer of the Black God set. It's really hard to hurt Li Yao. Don't even mention killing him. When he realizes that I'm a threat, he'll probably cover his entire face, leaving only his eyes, nose and mouth. Luo Feng slightly frowned. I can only think of a way to kill him in one hit. When he's not paying attention, I'll pierce through his face. In the dense weeds, Luo Feng slowly flew forward while sticking close to the ground. The distance between the two continued to shrink. 400 meters, 350 meters, 300 meters. In the blink of an eye, he was already 100 meters away. The closer the throwing knives are, the more unprepared he'll be when I attack. With a thought from Luo Feng, 6 throwing knives, including the 2 SS grade throwing knives, silently flew out of Luo Feng's pocket. The 6 throwing knives directly pierced into the ground and started advancing towards Vulture Li Yao's group. Luo Feng also stopped and laid on the ground without moving. Vulture Li Yao's group was carefully advancing in the wasteland. They didn't want to provoke those monsters. Hurry up, everyone. Li Yao walked while carefully looking in all directions. The 3 Wargods behind him, 2 Caucasians and 1 Japanese, were also cautiously looking around. Actually, with the strength of this group of people, they naturally weren't afraid of the monsters, but they were very clear that if they provoked the monsters or even encountered a group of monsters, it would cause a huge commotion. Luo Feng might notice them. If Luo Feng notices them, then the situation will become more troublesome. Go around this way. Don't provoke the horde of monsters in front, commanded Li Yao. The 3 Wargods were also very careful. The elite fighters who were either carrying boxes or holding weapons were also very careful. They actually went around that way? Luo Feng slightly frowned and then quietly moved forward again. His throwing knives can maintain their full power within 100 meters. Beyond 100 meters, their power rapidly decreases as the distance increases. And at a distance of 50 meters, not only are they powerful, but they also use up very little spiritual force to control them. And now, the distance between the two has exceeded 100 meters. Closer, closer. 120 meters, 100 meters, 80 meters. When Luo Feng was 80 meters away from Li Yao's group, he stopped. And at this time, the 6 throwing knives in the wasteland were less than 20 meters away from Vulture Li Yao. Throwing knives also require distance to increase their speed. Do it. Luo Feng's gaze turned cold. Advanced level Wargod Vulture Li Yao, his intermediate level Wargod Bei Yuan gang, and the 2 beginner level Wargods James and Isaacson. The 4 of them carefully advanced forward. The wind blew past and the weeds swayed. 6 black streaks of light were like black lightning as they directly shot out from the ground 5 meters away from Vulture Li Yao. In just a thousandth of a second, the 6 black streaks of light came into contact with Vulture Li Yao. Li Yao. The 3 Wargods behind him all reacted and couldn't help but to be shocked. Luo Feng, who was in the bushes far away, was also staring at Vulture Li Yao. He only saw the instant the 6 throwing knives shot towards him. Vulture Li Yao's entire face flashed with a black light. 4 of the 6 throwing knives shot towards Li Yao's face, but Li Yao's face was completely black at this time. How is this possible? Luo Feng stared. In the distance, 4 throwing knives stabbed into Li Yao's black skin, and 2 of them stabbed into Li Yao's black skin on his throat. However, they weren't able to pierce through his skin. Li Yao leapt into the sky and directly jumped 50 to 60 meters high. In midair, the black skin on his face revealed a pair of eyes as he looked downwards. Naturally, he could see everything from high up in the sky. With a glance, he found Luo Feng, who was less than 100 meters away from them. I don't believe it. Luo Feng and Li Yao's eyes met, and both of their eyes were filled with viciousness. 6 daggers danced over again and darted at Vulture Li Yao in midair in 6 streaks of brilliance. Vulture Li Yao's indifferent face did not even show the slightest change. He only slightly twisted his body when he was close to the daggers. 3 of the 6 daggers missed their target and the other 3 only hit him. A black light enveloped Vulture Li Yao. The throwing knives couldn't even pierce through Li Yao's skin. This is the Black God set? Wargod Yuan gang also had a look of admiration on his face. The group of elite fighters that Li Yao brought also looked at the godlike Li Yao with admiration. Luo Feng was also shocked. This Black God set is way too heaven-defying. It can completely ignore Wargod-level attacks. Luo Feng. Li Yao clenched his teeth and his eyes were about to spit fire. Kill him. Li Yao immediately descended. And when Li Yao looked towards Luo Feng's direction, the other 3 Wargods already knew where the enemy was, so... Whoosh! The 3 silhouettes exploded to the speed of sound. In the blink of an eye, the 3 Wargods surrounded Luo Feng. Yuan gang held a shield in one hand and a slightly curved blade in the other. Of the 2 white men, the bearded white man held a battle axe in each hand. The taller and skinnier one held a shield and a thin sword. Luo Feng sneered. His body weirdly drifted and dodged the 3 Wargods. After that, he leaped into midair like lightning. In midair, Luo Feng laughed coldly as he looked down. The 3 Wargods, Vulture Li Yao, and around 50 elites couldn't help but to raise their heads and look at Luo Feng. Death has arrived. Luo Feng coldly looked down. Even the other 4 throwing knives on his body immediately dove down from the sky. The 6 throwing knives that were originally attacking Li Yao also immediately split up. A total of 10 throwing knives. Even though Luo Feng can control 6 throwing knives at the same time while maintaining his full power, the power will decrease if he controls more. Against these elites that aren't even Wargods and the other 3 Wargods, there was no need for the strongest attack at all. The most important thing is efficiency, which is why Luo Feng used 10 throwing knives. When everyone saw the 10 throwing knives hover in the air, not only the elites, but even the 3 Wargods' expressions changed. Li Yao, on the other hand, roared furiously and soared into the sky. No. Those elite martial artists were all terrified and began to flee. All of you die. LuoFeng's gaze was cold as he gazed below. Shio. 10 flying knives. They transformed into 10 deathly blood-red rays of light. From different directions like a meat grinder, they shot towards the densely packed crowd. No. A black man shouted and a blood-red ray of light shot out from his chest. Ah. A white elite martial artist had exploded. Fresh blood instantly floated up and dyed the ancient wasteland red. Isaacson, the bearded white brute yelled in fear. 2 rays of death instantly shot towards the tall, skinny white Wargod fighter. Luo Feng purposefully controlled the direction of these 10 throwing knives. Of course, Luo Feng had to prioritize the 3 Wargods. At the same time, 2 throwing knives flew towards the white Wargod named Isaacson. Isaacson howled. Clang! The sharp sword in his hand barely blocked one of Luo Feng's throwing knives. Puchi! The other throwing knife brushed past his neck and only cut off a piece of flesh. I'm not dead, Isaacson let out a sigh of relief. Watch out, the bearded man yelled as he charged over. Puchi! The third throwing knife pierced through Isaacson's head from behind, causing red and white matter to fly. The bearded white brute on the side couldn't help but to widen his eyes. Isaacson! A Wargod has fallen. Controlling 10 throwing knives at the same time weakens the power of each throwing knife by a lot. It's so troublesome to deal with a beginner-level Wargod, thought Luo Feng to himself. When controlling 6 throwing knives he can maintain his full power. When controlling 7 throwing knives the power starts to decrease. With each additional throwing knife the power decreases by quite a bit. Killing a beginner-level Wargod with 10 throwing knives is so troublesome. Clang! 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 The 3 throwing knives surrounding the yellow-skinned man all failed. An intermediate-level Wargod is indeed much stronger than a beginner-level Wargod. Baka! Yuan gang roared as if he was arrogant after easily blocking 3 throwing knives. At the same time Luo Feng controlled the 10 throwing knives to slaughter the people below. Vulture Li Yao turned into a black blur as he shot towards Luo Feng. Seeing this, Luo Feng only sneered in his heart. He actually jumped in midair to fight against the spirit reader? What an idiot. With a thought, a formless spiritual force was used on the shield under his feet. Luo Feng immediately moved horizontally in midair and easily dodged Vulture Li Yao. This is one of the great advantages of a spirit reader. Die. Vulture Li Yao's face was ferocious and his eyes were filled with brutality. When Luo Feng dodged he actually roared and fiercely swung the knife in his right hand. Oh! Vulture Li Yao's arm suddenly grew over 10 meters long. A human martial artist actually had a black arm that was over 10 meters long. It was too strange. The arm that suddenly grew over 10 meters long held the blade and ferociously slashed towards Luo Feng. This what? Luo Feng was incomparably shocked and furious. The blade was already in front of him and he had no time to dodge. Fall. With a thought, Luo Feng used his spiritual force on his bracers and exerted a downward force, causing his entire body to rapidly fall. Of course, no matter how fast he fell, he couldn't match the speed of an advanced level Wargod's blade. Luo Feng could only use his ghost blade to block the blade that was several times the speed of sound. Rumble. An unimaginable power was transmitted through the blade. Even though Luo Feng was trying his best to dissipate the force and was already falling as a buffer, Luo Feng still felt pain in his right hand. The web between his thumb and forefinger split open and his right arm instantly went numb. His entire body was like a cannonball as he ferociously fell into the wasteland. Boom. Like a falling meteorite, a gigantic pit that was around 7 to 8 meters wide was smashed into the wasteland. The 10 throwing knives that were originally surrounding the group of people immediately flew towards this gigantic pit. Only then did the panicking group of people calm down. They all turned their heads towards the pit. That Japanese Beiyuan gang roared baka, and charged over like lightning. Li Yao, who was in midair, also fell. What a strange blade! Luo Feng jumped out of the pit like lightning. His face was pale and there was blood at the corner of his mouth. How did his arm grow longer? Luo Feng felt as if his organs were displaced and he felt terrible. Clearly the impact just now was too great. Keep in mind that an advanced level Wargod's fitness level usually has a fist strength of over 256,000 kilograms. And this Vulture Li Yao, as an experienced advanced level Wargod, has a fist strength of 400,000 to 500,000 kilograms. Along with his fist strength can increase by a few times. His fist definitely exceeds 1,000,000 kg. In other words, it exceeds 1,000 tons. What a horrifying power. Luckily, that slash just now had been extended through the Black God set, allowing it to be unleashed. Because it was extended by around 10 meters, the power of this blade was only half of its normal power. Even with half of its power, LuoFeng's organs were shaken and he spat out fresh blood. Baka. Beiyuan gang was already in front of him. This spirit reader is only at the beginner level Wargod-level. A 19-year-old youth is able to become a beginner level Wargod-level spirit reader. Not bad. Sadly, he's going to fall into my hands today. Beiyuan gang easily blocked the 3 throwing knives before, which made him extremely confident. Plus, there are still small groups of Japanese in the world that are extremely jealous of China. Throughout history, Japan and China have always been entangled in conflict. However, the Grand Nirvana period was a devastating blow to them. China's territory is huge, so it wasn't affected as much. Plus, many powerful fighters appeared. For example, the world's strongest fighter, Hong, is from China. Even though Hong is extremely powerful right now, one thing is undeniable. Hong was definitely siding with Huaxia in his heart. So China's position in the world is extremely high. And Japan, which was on par with China before the Grand Nirvana period, is now struggling at death's door and is scattered across many headquarter cities around the world. They don't even have a single government. How could they not be jealous of China? Not hate China? To be able to kill a genius of China with his own hands, Beiyuan gang felt his blood boil. Die. Beiyuan gang's eyes were like lightning as his aura shot through the sky. Japanese? Luo Feng looked at Beiyuan gang in front of him and frowned. Even though it's 2057 right now, as an outstanding high school graduate, Luo Feng was extremely clear about the history before the Grand Nirvana period. Facing the intermediate level Wargod Beiyuan gang who instantly charged in front of him, Luo Feng only sneered, "Idiot." Whoosh. A total of 6 throwing knives. Luo Feng can maintain the most amount of power in the largest area he can control. Not right. Beiyuan gang's eyes widened as he roared in his heart, "The throwing knives aren't right, why are they so much faster than before?" Beiyuan gang, who was full of confidence and killing intent after easily blocking the 3 throwing knives, had a huge change in expression as he swung the shield in his hand with all his might. However, the 6 throwing knives were way too fast. Keep in mind that Luo Feng can defeat most advanced level Wargods right now. Even Vulture Li Yao without his Black God set would be at a disadvantage. Against an advanced level Wargod? Puchi. The first throwing knife directly pierced through Beiyuan gang's mouth and caused his head to explode. The other 5 throwing knives didn't have any effect at all. Intermediate level Wargod, Beiyuan gang, fell. Vulture Li Yao, who had fallen to the ground, saw Luo Feng kill Beiyuan gang. His rage increased even more as he ferociously shot out and instantly tore through the air. His speed reached twice the speed of sound and he arrived in front of Luo Feng in a flash. Retreat, retreat. LuoFeng's expression changed as his body exploded with 3.5x full power. His speed exceeded 400 meters per second. The support of his powerful spiritual force increased speed. His speed exceeded 500 meters per second. Even though LuoFeng's spiritual force is close to the level of an advanced level Wargod, and his driving force is very strong, the higher one's speed is, the harder it is to increase it. The air resistance increases exponentially, and even though his driving force increases by 2 to 3 times, LuoFeng's speed hasn't even increased by a third. Compared to Vulture Li Yao's speed of sound, there's still a huge difference. Die. Li Yao's left and right hands crazily slashed towards Luo Feng. I can't dodge it. Luo Feng clenched his teeth. His spiritual force wrapped around one of the slashes, but the moment it touched, Luo Feng felt as if his spiritual force had hit a mountain and instantly collapsed. The attack power contained in this slash was way too strong. Vulture Li Yao's expression also slightly changed. He clearly felt that the power of his slash was affected. Rumble. The slashes collided with Luo Feng's hexagonal shield. As if it was struck by lightning, the horrifying force caused the hexagonal shield to crash into LuoFeng's body and LuoFeng's entire body was sent flying. Crack. His left arm, which was holding the hexagonal shield, was directly twisted. Bone fracture? Hopefully it's not broken. Luo Feng felt a sharp pain in his left elbow, so he used the force of the throw to charge towards the sky. Luo Feng, Vulture Li Yao roared. Rumble. He charged towards the sky and instantly neared Luo Feng. At the same time he ferociously swung his arm. His arm expanded and the black arm that was around 10 meters long directly swept towards Luo Feng, as if it wanted to tie him up. Luo Feng's body drew an arc in midair and immediately charged towards the sky. He was already 100 meters high and then swiftly flew towards the distant Ape Mountain range, disappearing from Vulture Li Yao's line of sight. In the wasteland, Vulture Li Yao's underlings were all panicking. They didn't think that a 19-year-old Chinese youth would be this terrifying. In a short moment, they already lost an intermediate-level Wargod, a beginner-level Wargod and 18 elites. And 16 elites were heavily injured. Bastard. Vulture Li Yao's expression couldn't help but to become ferocious as two balls of fire seemed to be burning in his eyes. Li Yao, how can this Luo Feng be this strong? He's not like what your report said at all. The white-bearded brute James hugged his brother's corpse and roared furiously. Shut up. Li Yao angrily stared at James as his killing intent rose. James' heart skipped a beat. If this Li Yao killed him in the wasteland and pushed the blame onto Luo Feng, no one would know. After thinking about this, James didn't dare to get angry at Li Yao anymore. Bei Yuan gang. Li Yao walked to the Japanese's corpse and his face became even uglier. He couldn't help but to angrily kick him. With a ping, Bei Yuan gang's corpse directly exploded and blood splattered everywhere. This scene caused everyone on the scene to feel a chill in their hearts. James cursed even more. This vulture sure is cruel. Why would I want to earn his money back then? Silence. Everyone was shocked by Vulture Li Yao's ferocity. After kicking Bei Yuan gang's corpse, Li Yao cursed, trash. Rage. A stomach full of rage. Vulture Li Yao looked around and became even more furious. He didn't think that Luo Feng would give him such a big present as soon as he arrived. So many people died. Vulture Li Yao, who was fully armed and only revealed his eyes, nose and mouth, stood in the middle of the wasteland like a demon god. Everyone else was stunned by his ferocity. The smell of blood permeated the air. Who would have thought that this Luo Feng has already grown this strong? If it wasn't for the black god set, I probably wouldn't even be able to defeat him. Vulture Li Yao squinted his eyes as a cold light flashed. He didn't die even after taking 2 direct attacks from me. And now that he knows how powerful my black god set is, he probably won't let me get close again. Vulture Li Yao was also panicking. There's only one way. Chase him and force him into the air. And once he does, he'll become a target for the laser cannon. Vulture Li Yao let out a cold smile. Yeah, the laser cannon. Vulture Li Yao's face changed. He just saw Luo Feng's throwing knives massacre the crowd and quite a few people died. Keep in mind that the laser cannon is humanity's most advanced weapon right now. Even if there are so many parts here, Vulture Li Yao can't install and operate such a high-tech weapon without professionals. Klein. Li Yao suddenly turned his head. A white man with a big beard ran over and said respectfully, Mr. Li, how are the casualties in your team? Asked Li Yao. Klein's face was pale as he replied respectfully, my team has a total of 9 people. 2 people died and 2 people were injured. Can you assemble the laser cannon and operate it? Asked Li Yao. Yeah. Klein slightly frowned. Li Yao's heart couldn't help but to skip a beat. This large laser cannon is humanity's most powerful weapon that can easily eliminate horde leader-level monsters and heavily injure emperor-level monsters. Naturally, many of them are complicated. Usually, there are people who specialize in a certain area. Sometimes, the laser cannon can't be assembled without a key person. But it's only in the T11P circuit. Klein was a bit hesitant. Let me ask you, can you assemble it now? Said Li Yao in a low voice. Klein saw Li Yao's cold expression and couldn't help but to be shocked. He clenched his teeth and said, with the 7 of us working together, we can do it. Very good, nodded Li Yao. Assemble now. Here? Klein was alarmed. Yes, right here. Li Yao sneered, I don't have time to transport these to the top of the mountain. I believe that Luo Feng won't be satisfied and will secretly climb to the top of the mountain to look at us. As soon as he shows his head, the laser cannon will be able to aim at him and kill him. Li Yao was very clear. Since Luo Feng has already discovered their tracks, then transporting these laser cannon parts to the top of the mountain for assembly is very likely to be discovered by Luo Feng. Then, with Luo Feng's abilities, even though he can't defeat Li Yao with the strange abilities of a spirit reader, destroying the laser cannon shouldn't be a problem. Klein nodded immediately. Yes. Klein immediately ran towards his team members. Li Yao also walked over to watch the professionals open the boxes. At the same time he instructed, everyone else keep a close eye on the surroundings. Absolutely do not let any monsters disturb or cause damage. Yes. Dozens of people answered in unison. Suddenly, there was a commotion among the members of the professional team. Li Yao looked over in confusion. Mr. Li. Klein hurriedly ran over. What's wrong? Asked Li Yao. Mr. Li, just now. Klein's face was pale and he was trembling. Speak. Li Yao glared. Klein's voice trembled as he said, Just now, when that spirit reader attacked, quite a few people hurriedly ran away. Some people ran in panic to avoid the throwing knives and knocked over the boxes. Even one of the boxes was pierced through by a randomly flying throwing knife. What? Li Yao's face changed greatly. Knocking over a box shouldn't be a big problem with the cushioning of the delicate components in the box. However, if a throwing knife pierced through a box, then the components in the box will definitely be destroyed. Hurry, open that box for me. Li Yao hurriedly walked over. Klein also hurriedly ran over. At this time, the other members of the team were standing next to a box with ugly expressions on their faces. Li Yao also clearly saw that the side of the box had a hole that pierced through the entire box. Even the naked eye could see some glass shards. Clearly the components inside had been damaged. Bastard. Li Yao's eyes were red. Such a big problem actually occurred as soon as he arrived. Actually, Li Yao didn't know. Back then, LuoFeng only cared about killing people and didn't care about these boxes. However, 3 of the throwing knives were blocked and sent flying by the intermediate-level Wargod Bei Yuan gang. With the throwing knives' shocking speed, when they were blocked and sent flying, they were naturally still very powerful. One of the throwing knives pierced through this box. Mr. Li, if the components inside are radar guides, then there shouldn't be much of a problem, said Klein. Open it, Li Yao furiously roared as he looked at the professionals. These professionals also knew. With the temper of the boss in front of them, if the laser cannon is damaged and can no longer be assembled, then there will only be one outcome for these useless people. Being killed by the boss. Immediately, these professionals started disassembling and opening the box. Voila, the box opened. Klein stared. It's energy? Energy? All the professionals on the side also stared. What's wrong? Li Yao stared at Klein on the side. Klein carefully looked at the box and excitedly said to Li Yao, Mr. Li, our luck is just too good. This pierced box contains the energy for the laser cannon. Even though 2 of the energy units are damaged, there's still one that's perfectly fine. In other words, the laser cannon's energy can be used to fire one attack at a high frequency. Every second level can be used 3 times. Li Yao let out a sigh of relief. Thankfully it's energy. Every second level attack can be used 3 times. Every single one of these 3 attacks could easily kill the strongest Wargod and the strongest horde leader monsters. Begin assembling, ordered Li Yao. Yes, all the professionals felt like they dodged a bullet and immediately started assembling. Ape Mountain Range, LuoFeng's base. In a dark cave, LuoFeng sat on the ground and leaned against the stone wall. His face was a bit pale. Good, my bones aren't broken. LuoFeng lightly rubbed his left elbow. LuoFeng lightly rubbed his left elbow. As he recalled the scene from before, LuoFeng still had some lingering fear. This Vulture Li Yao strength is already at the advanced level Wargod-level. His brute force alone is around 400,000 to 500,000 kilograms. Plus, his strength increases by 3 to 4 times, so his blade is definitely over 1,000,000 kg. Just now, Vulture Li Yao's blade was disrupted by his spiritual force and landed on his shield, but it still fractured his bones. In midair, Vulture Li Yao's extended arm slashed out, which also made LuoFeng vomit blood and cut open his right hand. However, because this blade was extended by the Black God set, it only had half of its full strength. These 2 blades. Vulture Li Yao wasn't even able to use his full strength. Even so, LuoFeng couldn't fight back at all. His speed is faster than mine. His attacks are stronger than mine. His defense is also much stronger than mine. And my advantage is that my attacks are more unpredictable, so it's easier for me to escape. LuoFeng slightly frowned. That Black God set is way too special. It can actually expand according to a person's will. Not only can it cover the entire body, but it can also extend for around 10 meters. This makes it easy for me to get hit while I'm in midair. When he was escaping, that Li Yao actually tried to use his enlarged arm to tie him up. Once he's tied up, he's probably done for. Next time I fight with this Li Yao, I have to maintain a distance of over 20 meters, LuoFeng decided to himself. While LuoFeng was resting in his base, Li Yao displayed his incomparably powerful abilities on the wasteland. He beat the leader of a horde of monsters, a horde leader, to the point of fleeing in defeat. After that, no horde of monsters dared to bother these humans anymore. Mr. Li, the assembly is complete, said Klein excitedly. Oh. Li Yao walked over. In front of him was a large satellite-like device. This device had 2 wings that were around 10 meters long. In the center was a cylindrical device that looked like a turbine. On the 2 sides of this large cylinder there were 2 smaller cylinders. Did you find LuoFeng's location? Asked Li Yao. Got it. Klein pointed at the radar on the side. This LuoFeng is within 5 kilometers of us. Our radar can barely detect him. However, radars were usually used to search for large objects. After all, the human body was too small. Once the distance was too far, it would be very difficult to lock onto the target. If that's the case, we can only lock onto it with a laser. Laser lock. Li Yao frowned. Yes. Klein nodded. Laser-guided lock-on. Its advantage is its extremely high accuracy. It can lock onto a target from very far away. But its weakness was that there couldn't be any obstacles between it and the target. For example, there's a huge mountain in front of us, so it's impossible to lock onto us with the laser. Of course, now that we're close, there's no need to do that. The radar can lock onto the target, Klein said confidently. Can you kill him now? Klein pressed. I can't. Klein shook his head and said, The target is now inside the mountain range inside one of the mountains. Just from here to the target, there is more than 300 meters of rock. If a laser were to penetrate such a thick rock, its power would have long been exhausted. 300 meters of rock. No matter how powerful a Wargod is, one punch can't penetrate a mountain 300 meters deep. However, as long as he pops his head out of the mountain range. Or, as long as the rock is within 10 meters of him, I can penetrate it and kill him, Klein said confidently. Very good. Li Yao's eyes flashed. Lock onto Luo Feng. I don't believe. With how sly this kid is, he'll definitely use his binoculars to peek at me. Once the target is in a state where you can shoot him, kill him. Yes, Klein replied loudly. Li Yao looked at the ape mountain range in the distance and a sneer appeared on his face. You should be proud of dying to a laser cannon. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe and turn on the notifications so you won't miss any of our upcoming great videos.